Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanfiction. I am your host, Dennis Patholkis, and this is Preacher, Season 4, Episode 8, Fear of the Lord. Welcome, everybody. And I'll get to it in just a second. Let me get some business stuff out of the way. First, if you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. You can hit the dislike button. I just ask you to get down below in the comment section. Tell me what it is you don't like. Give me some constructive criticism. Also, if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you can hit the bell down below. It is a 50-50 chance of you actually getting notification from YouTube. You can go into the bell settings and get as many or little notifications as you want. If you really want to see when I'm be on, you can go to suspendedfanimation.com. I have my schedule up there. I change it every Monday. And it's also mirrored on my Facebook page as well. I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram, and I also have a Patreon page, but I don't have any tiers set up as of yet. I will by the end of the year. So, yeah. All right. So let's get through this one. Spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the shit out of the episode. If you have not seen the episode, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video. You can comment down below in the comment section. Thank you, Viking Bitch, for the paddle. And as you can see, there is the perma spoiler alert sign right above me right there. So, all right. So this episode, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good at the same time. There was a lot of shock value is what they were doing on this one. And again, this is episode 8. We have 2 more episodes left, 9 and 10. And I kind of felt like we were getting stuck again in some stuff, but let me get into it a little bit. I'll hit the recap here, and then we'll get into there a little bit. So we see Hairstar getting a spigot installed in place where his penis is now missing, and he passes out, and we get a flash of a boy singing "My Way" in German. It looks like a school play or something like that. And we see that Klaus Star wins again for the 4th year in a row, and it's actually the actor with a wig on, and he's smiling and everything, and he gets his little sash and all this, and he's inside the bathroom, admiring the sash and basically saying platitudes to himself when all the other kids come into the bathroom. And the one that was singing "My Way" tells them to hold him down, and he says, I'm gonna ruin those good looks for you, basically. And he has a he basically has a knife, and that's what we saw. That's what happened to Hairstar's eye. Was this kid had taken his eye, and he wakes up with a start saying, "My beautiful eye," and he wakes up in the cave with these 3, I guess you could say half-wit brothers in a way, and they're like, "Oh, you've been through a lot, you poor man. We'll take care of you, and here, why don't you eat something? Because you need to get some meat on your bones and build yourself back up again." And Hairstar's eating, and he's like, "Thank you. I haven't been shown this kind of kindness before. It's very refreshing. Thank you." And then he looks down and sees that his leg is missing and realizes that they're eating his leg. And, he's like, "You're eating my leg." And they're like, "Well, yeah, we gave you the first bowl. We're all eating it." Huh. And he's pretty pissed off and says, he goes, "I have a subdermal transponder that's been activated, and a team's on their way. They're going to kill you all. They're going to save me." And they're like, your blood pressure's up. You know what that means? And they get out the table saw. And just as they're coming for him, and Hairstar raises his arm up to defend himself, they get shot. And we see Featherstone come in, and we see Hairstar's leg roasting over an open fire. And Featherstone carries him out of the cave. So, yeah. Very... I don't know. Again, it was a lot of shock value on this, and sure, it's in the comic. A lot of the stuff is in the comic, and a lot more graphic in the comic, I guess you could say. But this was like, all right. I mean, there's only so much they can do for cable, and yeah. So we see Fiore again is pissed at Jesse. They're back in the throne room again, and he's pissed at Jesse for siding with God because he won't go and sit on the throne and take care of business. And Jesse's like, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to go back to the slideshow, and he goes, just to tell you, he goes, that's been going, that day that my father died has been in my head ever since it happened. He goes, so you're not torturing me at all. I run through this all the time. And Fiore goes, no, 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 no. The slideshow portion is over. And we see a naked Jesse suspended in a cage with a tube up his ass and ants going up his ass. So that's the second shock value one, if you want. And then we see Tulip and Cass. They're driving through this, huge rainstorm and discussing where they're going to go, what they're going to do. And Tulip just like, fuck it. She pulls over to the side. She pulls Humperdew out. And she goes, I'm going to shoot him in the head. I'm going to shoot him here. I just want God to come out and see this kind of thing. And of course he doesn't. The rain stops and she's yelling out at him basically for God to come down and watch this. And she's like, and Cass is like, why don't you just do it? And she goes, no, I want him here. I want him to do this because we watched when he did Jesse in front of us. So we're going to kill Humperdew in front of him. And she goes, I'll do it. I'll wait for as long as it takes. 3 months later, we're still out on the farm, out in this front of this house they stopped off at that just happens to be abandoned. Yes, it is the real Humperdew, Mr. Roboto. They already went through and did all that at the last episode. Go back and watch the last episode if you want that clarification. And they're sitting there in this house, and they've basically made like a little family. Cass is, playing with Humperdew and all this. And then Tulip's like, nope, wait. It's time for you to go to the moon. And Humperdew's, all excited about going to the moon. And we see that he's got a jacket on with a bomb and goes running out into the, actually puts his jacket on, goes out to a refrigerator that's actually got a bomb in there. And the top half of the door is missing. So they can see his face inside the refrigerator. And we see that, Tulip has the trigger. And she's not going to pull it as of yet because, of course, the detonator, because she wants, God to see this, of course. In the meantime, we go all the way down to hell. We just see this, go all the way down to hell, and Jesse is on fire and running down a hallway. So, yeah. So he's being tortured. He's been tortured all this time. Then we see Jesus and Hitler. They're in Masada with Hitler again trying to tempt Jesus into defying God's will and becoming the Messiah because they can't find Humperdew. And, Jesus is like, I don't know, man. I really, I don't think it's a good idea. And that's when Hairstar comes in. And Hitler's, tells Hairstar, he goes, oh, it's really a shame that the Messiah decided to kill himself, but that kind of thing happens. And Hairstar's like, cut the crap. We know it's not the real Humperdew. It was probably one of his clones. The real Humperdew is out there someplace. And that's when Hitler switches modes and goes, okay, well, we do still have Jesus here. Why don't we make him the Messiah? And he goes, we've got a little thing to show you. And they pull off Jesus' robes and he's wearing a jumpsuit underneath and start playing Run DMC's It's Tricky. And Jesus breakdances. And Hairstar stops me and goes, oh, stop your ethnic dance. He goes, it doesn't work on someone who doesn't have a penis, someone who doesn't have to get their penis descaled all the time. And he goes, it's not my decision to make anyway. It's God's decision. So, you're barking up the wrong tree at this point. Tulip and Cass, in the meantime, are out in the woods looking for Humperdew because Cass turned around to pee and Humperdew took off. And they find him with some deer. And he's got like the radiant light coming down on him and all this stuff. And they get him over there. And Cass is like, oh, man, you know what's going to happen, buddy? We need to check you for ticks. For real this time. You've been playing with deer. And Humperdew's like, oh, yeah. Again, spinning of wheels here. You can see they're just trying to figure out what kind of scenes to throw in there that can just pad the fucking episode. In the meantime, Hairstar is naked with his school sash over him and his nipple rings with his chain across, and he's got the sash running underneath the chain, and he's completely naked, standing in front of the mirror, drinking, and he's got a handcuff on one arm, and he stands up on top of the table. This is inside the conference room, He throws the sash up over the pipe and ties it off, and then of course ties it around his neck, and then handcuffs himself behind his back and jumps off the table. And as he's choking, or hanging himself there, and he's trying to kick back to the table and everything, the sash slides and grabs onto the chain and rips off his nipples as he falls to the floor. Yeah. Again, a lot of this is Monty Python-esque comedy is what we're going with here. The whole meaning of life stuff where you have a lot of gory comedy for comedy's sake, like you're saying Apple Crow. Yeah, it's just way too much comedy. And God comes in at this point and says, "Oh, poor Hairstar, I thought you wanted your looks back and everything." And Hairstar's crying and says, "I did, but I just don't know where Humperdew is." And God says, "All you have to do is ask. Bring him home," is what he says. So yeah. I agree with you about Apple Crow. Monty Python stuff is actually funny. This one was just more, they're they were trying to do Monty Python is what they were trying to do Apple Crow, and this didn't work. So Jesse, in the meantime, is still in hell. He's inside a barrel with rats, and he hears gunshots outside and screaming. And it is, of course, the Saint of Killers, and he breaks Jesse out of hell. And they have him on horseback, and they ride out someplace, and he's got a fire going, and they're sitting there. And the Saint recalls to Jesse a story about a drunk general with a sideways map, and how a colonel didn't, notice the sideways map, didn't say anything, decided to follow orders, sent the boys up the hill, and the screaming could be heard for days, is what he said. And Jesse looks at him and goes, "Oh, I understand now. You're the colonel." And he goes, "No, I was the general," is what he says. And so that was what kind of got him, sent to hell, was because of that action. And then Jesse starts hearing screaming. He goes, "Where did you get this horse? And what's that screaming?" And the Saint says, "That is that's what's to come if you don't do what you need to do, and you need to sit on the damn throne." And that's when Jesse, comes to inside the throne room again, because he's still in hell. He hasn't left. And Fiore finally just gets pissed off at him and says, "You know what? Take him and put him on the throne." And so they grab Jesse and they put him on the throne. It's just they're sitting him down. Everything goes black. And then we see Jesse's grave and him reaching through, and we hear a rise kind of thing. And his hand comes out of the grave, and Jesse crawls out of his own grave at this point. So Hairstar, Featherstone, the troops arrive outside of Tulip and Cass and Humperdew's house as they're sitting down for dinner. And of course, Tulip's legendary bad cooking wins again. She's made burgers with some kind of weird shit on there. And both Cass and Humperdew take a bite. And he goes, No, it's really good. It's good. And Humperdew projectile vomits onto Cass. And then he's like, "Oh, maybe he's got a little touch of the flu." And then he starts throwing up and does a projectile vomit onto Humperdew as well. Yeah, again, this is trying to do Monty Python-esque comedy, but it's not working. It's not funny, honestly. It was just kind of stupid. And we have Featherstone, of course, breaks in, and Tulip, she saw them coming basically, and tells Humperdew to go to the moon, and he leaves. Featherstone breaks in and says that she wants permission again to kill Tulip, and Tulip, just before she's going to try and kick Featherstone's ass, vomits. Cass slips in the vomit, gets the shit kicked out of him, and they ask, Featherstone asks her where Humperdew is, and then over the radio we hear that they've got him, and we see that they've strapped the refrigerator to an elevator, or refrigerator to a helicopter, and are taking it away. And Tulip, they've left at this point because, of course, Featherstone does not get the okay to kill Cass and Tulip. And Cass has a detonator, and Tulip wants him to pull the trigger, and he's like, "I can't do it." And she goes, "Give me the detonator." He goes, "No, I'm not going to do it." She goes, "Well, give it to me." She goes, "I will take it from you." And he goes, "I'm a vampire. There's nothing you can." And she hits him in the chest with the axe, grabs the detonator. She goes out there and sees she's looking into Humperdoo's face, and she's got the trigger, and she can't do it either, and watches him fly away. And so Cass and her have decided that they're going to go and break him out of the Grail at this point. Yeah. Yeah. We don't know what kind of berry jam she had or where she got those berries from, Apple Crow. So who knows what it was. So we see Jesse wandering the outback when a familiar RV pulling a motorcycle appears, and out walks God. And God says, yes, it's him. And he tells Jesse he's not in hell, that he brought Jesse back. And Jesse, kind of fawns over him and says it was all a test. He goes, my whole life it was a test, and I passed. And I didn't forsake you. I didn't sit on the throne. And God's like, yes, you didn't, you didn't sit on the throne. He goes, but you didn't pass the test. You didn't quite pass the test because you wanted to sit on the throne. You sinned in your heart. And Jesse looks at him like, are you fucking kidding me, kind of thing? And he says, and God's like, you should thank me for everything I've done for you. I've made you my own image. I've done a lot of things for mankind. And that's when Jesse starts going, oh yeah, like childhood cancer, the Kardashians, things like that. And then God goes, why are you looking at me? Did your father teach you that you should stare down your creator? He goes, why are you looking at me like that? And he's got him by the throat, and he bites out Jesse's eye and spits it out. And he goes, I'm not going to kill you. You still have a part in all of this. You and your friends, bring them, and, bring them to me, kind of thing. Yeah, they have a part to play in the apocalypse. So we see a restored hair star. He's got his hair, he's got his eye, most likely his penis and his leg back as well. And he is showing off Humperdoo to the Grail, and that the apocalypse now has an air date, and that everything is going according to plan. And Hitler and Jesus look like they might have their plan of their own, so we don't know what's going on there. And then we see a guy in prison playing the guitar, and these two guys said, hey, you said something bad about that guy in line the other day. And the guy's like, no, I didn't say anything bad. And they come up and they just shank the shit out of him, kill him. And he's laying there on the bench, and they take off. And that's when we hear the overhead about, this is a prison for child molesters, is what this is. And we see Eugene come up to the guy who's dead, obviously on the bench, and he pokes the guy and goes, hey, are you okay? And obviously he's not. And he looks over the guys and goes, guys, come on, why'd you do that? And then he picks up the guitar for some strange reason and starts plucking at it a little bit. But so, and Tulip and Cass, in the meantime, are in the hotel room. They've again killed off all the Grail agents in this hotel again, and they've taken over the room, and they screw, basically, because, yeah. And in their afterglow, Tulip gets up and she goes to the bathroom, and Cass is laying there in bed, and there's a knock at the door, and he's like, Jesus Christ, I'll get to clean up the bodies later. And he opens up the door, and it is Jesse with his one eye, because he's got the other eye bandaged. And he comes in, and Tulip comes out of the bathroom and hugs him. And that's where we leave off on this episode. Again, there's a spinning of wheels, a huge spinning of wheels, and I'm tired of this comedic gross out factor kind of thing that they're trying to do. It's just not working. Either make it horrific or make it comedic, one or the other. Pick a road, pick a lane, I guess you could say. Well, now it doesn't make any difference anyway, because you got 2 episodes left, so it's not going to make that much of a difference at this point. I love the eye scene. It was rushed, but I mean, I'm satisfied, I guess, as I guess I'll ever be. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. This is going to go out with a whimper. It's not going to go out with a bang. So Humperdoo can fly. No. If it weren't for there being only 2 more episodes, I'd be out now. Yeah, I agree with you, Apple Crow. It's gone, on this roller coaster ride of shit is basically what it is. There's been some interesting scenes, I guess you could say, but this whole season has just been pretty much shitty. Joe says, every time I hear the name Humperdew, I think of the Digital Underground and the Humpty dance. The Humpty is the dance now to do the hump. Yeah, I know. I know what it is. Do the Humpty Hump. Yeah. I think falling back on the comedy is a symptom of them not knowing where to take the story, but it just kind of highlights the missing elements. Yeah, I agree with you, Apple Crow. It's pretty it's very lackluster. You could tell that the A team are already gone. The writing team is gone. Any oversight that they might have had from more competent people is gone from this season. This is them just wrapping shit up. And what they've done is they left the keys to the bellboy of the hotel who doesn't know any better and letting him finish everything. Yeah, it's for TV, it's pretty shocking. Pen. Yeah, Pen. I don't know. I've seen like you said earlier. There was it worse than Smoothie? The happy stuff. I think the happy stuff was a little more discuss. I mean, it's the same people, quite honestly, that are doing the same shtick. So yeah, I'm just hoping the boys doesn't carry over into this. Quite honestly. Yeah. Yes, Joe. The show did go to hell. Quite literally. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna stick it out for the last 2 episodes because I mean it fills a hole in my schedule, which aligns perfectly with the premiere of Mr. Robot on October 2nd. Yes, October 5th. I don't have my book in front of me, so it's that's Sunday afterwards. So yeah, not really a big fan right now of where this is going, but hey, what do I know? So everyone else still on board with this, or I mean, and you can also see that the ratings have dropped off on it. The viewership has dropped off on it. I can see it in how many views I'm getting on my reviews of this. Quite honestly, is that people just don't care. So what are you going to do for the finale? Nothing, Joe. I'm just going to review it. That's all. Just the same thing I've been doing. Because really, there's nothing there. Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing really to celebrate about this one, Joe. It really isn't. It's dying a very slow death is really what's happening at this point. And it needs to die a bit more quickly. It kind of reminds me of if you saw the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie with Paul Rubens, where he's got the ruler stuck in his chest and he keeps dying very, very slowly. As a matter of fact, if you stay till after the credits, he's still dying after the credits. That's kind of reminds me of this show. That's how long it's taken for this thing to die. Yeah. So, with that said, if you like everything that you see here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. And also, if you're still on the fence about joining up, you're going to see the very end here. There's going to be a video up in this area. It's going to take basically what YouTube does is going to take the algorithm of all the stuff you've been watching and match it up to one video in my library and pluck it from my video library and stick it right there for you. And up here is going to be Saturday Morning Blast Off, which was actually good this week. It was pretty good. There's a lot of stuff. But if you want to see them around live again next, you can hit the bell down below. You can also go to suspendedfanimation.com. You can go to Facebook, and I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram, and I have a Patreon page as well. Like, share, and subscribe, just like Penn says. Exactly. Man, I really do wanted this, I wanted this to end a bit better than this. It's just, you can tell that the A list is gone, who are overseeing this. We're not getting the first season people back, that were working on this. Definitely not. And yeah, exactly. Apple Crow. I want God to win too on this because it just honestly, yeah. So what do you want to review on Sundays? Mr. Robot, Joe, is what I'm doing. And then on the 20th of October, HBO is going to be doing Watchmen as well on Sunday. So it's going to be a battle royale between Mr. Robot and and Watchmen to see which one's going to vie for my attention and my review. I'm going to do both still, but I might have to shunt one to a later time period or to a different day. We'll see. I'm still not hating it. I have hope it can't be as bad as the Game of Thrones finale. You never know, Pen. No, not Mr. Roboto, Mr. Robot. No O. So, you're in denial, Pen. So you're in Egypt now? But I'm bummed. Yes, bad jokes all week. I figured since you just watched this whole episode anyway, you're used to all the bad jokes, and yeah. I don't see Watchmen being better than Mr. Robot. I agree with you, Apple Crow, but you never know. And quite honestly, I don't know if the audience is out there anymore for Mr. Robot since it's been so long since season 3 happened. And I'm not going for the clicks, but I also want, viewers. And if I'm only getting 30 views on a video when I could be getting, granted, the show needs to be, if Watchmen sucks, I'm going to say it's going to suck. And, same thing with Mr. Robot. If Mr. Robot sucks, I'm going to say, Mr. Robot sucks for that season. I doubt it's going to, but Watchmen, on the other hand, looks like a mess. It really does, but who knows? It could just be the way the trailers are cut, because the trailers look really kind of wonky. And then again, it could just be Lindelof's writing, because Lindelof's writing sucks, and he's the one who's been writing all the scripts. Oh, that's right. I forgot that's on Waragami. Yeah, that's on tonight. I forgot about that. Yeah. I don't know about that one. That's a CW show, quite honestly, and I forgot that was even an option. I might have to take a look at that afterwards and see. Wow. There's some shitty shows. Yeah, I did forget about that, Joe. I tried to wipe it out of my mind. That's right. There was the Jurassic World short. So the Jurassic World short pen was on. I watched the East Coast feed of Preacher, so it was on at the same time as the Jurassic World short on the West Coast here. So yeah, I didn't get a chance to see it. Yeah, and quite honestly, I really don't care about the Jurassic World short. It's just not my thing. I stopped. So backstory on this: when the original Jurassic World came out, or Jurassic Park, I should say, came out in 90 something. I remember I waited in line for 3 hours to go and see that movie. I was pissed by the time I got inside. Was not in a good mood when I went in there to see that movie. And so I didn't get the magic of that movie because I was so pissed for waiting for 3 hours in that line to get inside. It was hot, yeah. Yes, Mr. Roboto, at the time, there was no such thing as assigned seating. You had to wait in line. There was only one theater in town that was showing it, and you had to wait in line in order to get in. And if you got out of line, you lost your place. So, oh, you got to watch it, Penn, before Preacher. So it was very short, didn't add anything to the story. I kind of figured it wasn't going to anyway. Yeah. And yeah, on subsequent viewings of Jurassic Park, it didn't do anything for me anyway. I'm not the biggest Spielberg fan to begin with. I like some of his earlier stuff. I believe it's up until, because I mean, he directed Raiders. Raiders is awesome. I'm trying to think what else after that. I mean, E.T., yeah, okay. Poltergeist, yes. I'm trying to think after that. It's just, it becomes kind of formulaic if you start looking at his movies, especially if you look at Saving Private Ryan. Saving Private Ryan just really pissed me off because it was so formulaic, and you can, see where he's manipulating the audience and how he's just bringing you along on this really stupid journey. And yeah, it honestly didn't do anything for me. I've stopped watching his movies just because I know where they're going to go and they're not going to do anything for me. Applecrow says, I think it was Cracked or maybe College Humor that did a short about Lindoff's writing where he steals the guy's lunch and the guy just wants to eat, but Lindoff keeps writing him. Yeah. No, I did not bring snacks, if you're wondering. It's not Penn's fault. But so, with that said, join me again on Tuesday when I have, what am I going to be doing? I'm going to be doing Is It Worth My Time, the Hellboy 2019 edition. Then Wednesday, I'm off. Thursday is going to be another episode, Is It Worth My Time? And this one's going to be The Rook from Stars. I figured I'd cover The Rook since I watched the entire season of that. And it is sci-fi related. Then what else I have? I got on Friday, that's Titans season 2, episode 3. Saturday is Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I take the genre news of the week, talk about that and any other genre stuff you guys want to talk about. And then we roll it back around again to Sunday for Preacher. Yeah. Applecrow says, spoiler, if you watched the whole season, I'm guessing it was worth your time. You're going to have to wait and see about that, Applecrow, if it was or not. No, Joe, I'm not reviewing Glow. I've already been told that if I review Glow, that, dead animals will be sent to me and all that kind of stuff. Cow's heads, all that kind of whatever. Because supposedly, I guess if I review stuff, people end up, it ends up getting canceled or something like that. Yeah. I haven't seen either one, so I can't wait to hear your answer. Yeah. No, I'm not talking about Stargate Atlantis, Mr. Roboto. Yeah, that can go under the, the whole thing of Farscape and, MASH, the Dick Van Dyke Show, the $20,000 pyramid, all that kind of stuff that I'm not going to cover. Yeah. No. Yeah. I want to try and keep things, somewhat relevant and somewhat, new-ish. Yeah. Thanks, Booney Moss. Well, The Boys hasn't been canceled yet. There's your evidence. No, they gave everybody a second season. Amazon did, but Amazon really, really loves The Boys. They have been pushing that one quite a bit. And there's a good reason for that. It's actually really good. So yeah, like I said, I have no I didn't like Krypton on that much either. That's the whole thing. And Krypton got canceled. That wasn't my fault. It has to be if I really like something and I'm reviewing it at the same time. Then it gets canceled. That's why I was worried about Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol got picked up for a second season, but who knows about a third? Yeah. Dennis may need to do a rapid fire edition. Is it worth my time with one sentence answers? I'll just say yes or no, or maybe. How about that, Pen? I'll just be yes, no, maybe. Yes, I am going to cover Watchmen, Booty Maz. Like I said, right now it's kind of a hard way to figure this one out because it's on the same night as Mr. Robot, and it's going to be pretty dicey. I don't know. I know that I get the East Coast feed of HBO, so I believe it's on at 9 p.m. Eastern time, which means it's 6 p.m. my time. But then Mr. Robot, I believe, is on 7 p.m. my time. So it'd be back to back. I'd have to watch them back to back because there's no way to record them, unfortunately. And that means I would have to start at 8:15 and roll straight through to probably like 10 p.m. my time. Yeah. Unless I keep it to half an hour and then do, 8:15 to 8:45 and then set up 8:45 or 8:50ish to, to close on that one. Yeah. Well, Mr. Robot comes on 2 weeks before Watchmen does. So we get 2 weeks to see how Mr. Robot does, and then we can go from there. I've only heard it's okay, Apple Crow. It's and better done be and been done be better. I've decided not to watch. What was that? Hannah. Hannah was horrible. I watched that whole first season. I couldn't believe they actually got a second season. But then again, Amazon has been giving everything a second season. Really, everything's gotten a second season at Amazon except for Jean-Claude Van Johnson. So, yeah. I'm definitely looking forward more to Mr. Robot, Booney Mouse on that. Watchmen, like I said, the trailers just look horrible. I don't know if it's the editing or what. And also, Lindoff is the writer on this, so who knows? Yeah, Jean-Claude Van Johnson definitely needed a second season. Apple Crow, I firmly believe that. It really did. So did go back and take a look. There's also one on Amazon that people might have missed called Comrade Detective. And it's one of the funniest things you'll ever see. Comrade Detective has Channing Tatum in it as well, he's doing the voiceover. So the whole premise of Comrade Detective is that they found this old 80s Czechoslovakian cop show that's set in Czechoslovakia, but now it's been dubbed over by American actors. So Channing Tatum being one of them, and supposedly he's a big fan of the old Czechoslovakian show. It's pretty damn funny. And it's interspersed with Channing Tatum coming in and talking to another writer, I think is what it is. And they're having conversations about, how they found it and stuff like that. It's actually pretty damn funny. So yeah, if you want to have something to watch on Amazon and you don't know what else to watch, go take a look at Comrade Detective. That's definitely one to take a look at. Booney Maz, I'm excited to hear that not enough people appreciating Mr. Robot. Sam Ishmael says, yeah, I actually liked Homecoming on Amazon as well, that Sam Ishmael did. He's not in it other than, like I said, these little tiny, like maybe a minute and a half, 2-minute long scenes in between some stuff. Apple Crow. Plus, he also voices over one of the characters. It's hilarious. I mean, absolutely hilarious. I might have to go back and rewatch some of them. Homecoming's twisted. It really is. It got renewed for a second season as well, Booney Mouse. It's not just one season. But Julia Roberts is not coming back for the second season, but she still is producing, executive producer or something like that. Yeah, Joe, it's been done before. I mean, I might do some like obscure movies that people might not have heard of. That, I mean, everyone's seen Escape from New York, if you've been born before the year 2000. Yeah. She's asleep right now, Mr. Roboto. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you if you made it this far in the video. And again, if you like what you see here, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, like, share, and subscribe. You should have reviewed that show, and we'd have done 2 on the list of non-canceled shows. Yeah, I know, really. Thanks. And with that said, have a good night. I will see you on Tuesday for Is It Worth My Time? Hellboy 2019. And don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may end up waking up and having a spigot where something else should be. And that's not a good thing. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.